A viewer brought to my attention a post by Yogi in regards to master modes. And the post here on the screen pretty much sums up everything I've been saying. Master mode's not going anywhere. If you don't like it, too bad. But there's a bit more depth to it, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. But there are a few things I'd like to highlight on here and discuss, as well as give my own opinion about it. And maybe attack some people in the light fighter community too. We'll see. So the part I'm highlighting here, he's basically saying that the high speeds were introduced in 3.0 as a means for players to get around the big universe and experience the new content. But a byproduct of that were players using this unintended speed to become PvP pros, quote-unquote, at it, and that broke the game. Now, there's an important part here that I really want to quote directly, and it's this one right here. Quote, "What this resulted in over a longer period of time is that a tiny portion of players got really good at playing PvP combat, though relying solely on one or two strategies. But overall, the players engaging in combat consistently dropped over time." So it just means that players were really just doing one of two things, or maybe both. They were trichording and doing 45. It's about the only two things. And the system really just allowed them to do that. And as a result of this, and the inaccessibility of it, player participation dropped down. Here's a very harsh reality that you may not want to hear, is that accessibility is a good word, and accessibility is king when it comes to making a product. CIG is not making this game, no matter what they say, and they'll never openly say this because they need your money. They're not making this game for you. They're not making this game to make you happy. They're not making this game to make me happy. They're not even making this game to make themselves happy. They're making this game to be a successful product. A successful product. You do not become a successful product by appealing to 100 or 200 sick nerds who decide to make Star Citizen PvP in its broken state their whole life's goal. And that is essentially what happened, and it drove player participation down. Thus, we got master modes. The next thing I want to discuss here that he said is about what it achieved. He states that, quote-unquote, combat on average is much closer now, simply because the speeds are slower. I agree with this. I think you guys all probably agree with this. Combat is overall more accessible and balanced. This comes from slower speeds, the addition of chording limiters, and then he puts in parentheses, which was the sole strategy that pro pilots relied on, coupled with very strict tuning limits from the ship archetypes. This improved group fights and made sure that pro pilots can't take on 7 newbies anymore. This is a very big one, and this is what I was saying in my very original Master Modes video, is that the people who thought they were good, because they were taking on 7 players by themselves, they were only doing so because they were exploiting a broken system to trichord away at insane speeds, something that most players probably didn't know they could do at the time, get their shields back, re-engage, kill somebody, trichord away, and do the same thing over and over and over again. So instead of you actually fighting 7 people, you were doing multiple 1v1s. And you might say, well, that's skill, that's good. But it's not. It's not good gameplay. It's stupid. It's dumb. And people left. People didn't participate. People didn't play because it was trash. Hey, and you don't have to take my word for it. How's your memory? Is it good? Think back to how many people actually did Arena Commander before Master Modes. Think about how many people actually did it. And it's not just count the alts, because everybody hides behind alts to protect their egos. Think back to how few people were doing Arena Commander compared to now. There's a combination probably of Battle Royale. I know one of my friends really loves Battle Royale, so I'm not going to, poo-poo on that. But I think that might be part of it. And I also think definitely 100% that Master Modes not being there and the old flight model was definitely a part of people not wanting to participate in Arena Combat PvP. And then he states that it achieved the following, which are, quote-unquote, shift differences are a lot more meaningful because the chording limiters make tuning differences actually matter. Yes, I agree with this. It's not perfect, but we've got a lot more differentiation, except for the F7A Hornet, which I think the F7A Hornet completely kneecapped any progress that Master Modes had actually made. I think that the Hornet coming out really sabotaged any of the progress that we would have seen with Master Modes. But that's neither here nor there because it's been nerfed, so we can move on from that. But in general, I do agree with this. The ship differences were and are a lot more meaningful now than ever. And then he goes on to talk about the things that maybe he doesn't like or might be changed. But then in summary, he says that it's all going to be looked at again after 4.0. So basically, you're stuck with the current version of Master Modes for at least a year. Deal with it. But here's what I think about it. Master Modes had to come out. And I would almost say that I'm tired of hearing about it, but people are trying to blame the current lack of popularity of Star Citizen on Master Modes. But the reality is the popularity isn't because Master Modes is in the game, or the lack of popularity rather, but it's because the game just sucks right now. There's nothing to do. It has nothing to do with Master Modes. Master Modes is probably one of the only good things to come out of Star Citizen this year after a massive hype up from CitizenCon. The game's definitely in a better place. It is. But it's in a better place while still being the same game it has been for the last 3 or 4 years. No doubt, it's better, but it's still the same. It's the same crap, different shovel. That is why Star Citizen is not very popular right now. People are going to try and co-opt that lack of popularity, and they're going to put that on Master Modes, because that's part of their agenda. They're disingenuous. They're rats. Look at a big chunk of the Light Fighter community. Not all of them. But those people hate Master Modes, and they hate it because it doesn't allow them to style on kids who just started playing the game. These are people that aren't going to waste their time and play a real competitive game like, say, Deadlock or something like that. That's a prime example of a game that is accessible, high skill cap, easy to learn, difficult to master. People can step into Deadlock, learn at their own pace, and get good. That simply was not the case with Star Citizen. And I would argue that even with the current Master Mode changes, that's still probably not the case, but it's better than it was. So a few more tweaks and some more accessibility and readability with perhaps the UI and some tutorials, and Star Citizen might be there. But it's going to take some time. So the next time you see some kid crying about Master Modes, some Light Fighter nerd talking about how his E-Honor has been insulted and it gets ain't fair and he's going to go play something else, tell him to go play something else. Because I would say that Star Citizen would be 110% better without that annoying minority of the quote-unquote PvP community present. I think it would just be a better game. But we know they'll never leave because they'll get pooped on in any other quote-unquote real game. But that's the end of the video. As always, if you guys want to talk about this, hit me up in the comments. Our Discord is always open. You're welcome to come on there. The link is in the description, and I might even flash it on the screen here because maybe it's more helpful to you guys. But we like to talk about this stuff. And Star Citizen, you know, despite it not being in the best state right now, it's still a game that we all love and that we all want to play, myself included. It's just going to take some time to get there. So we've waited over 10 years now. What's another 5, eh? Right? Yeah? Ugh.